Allow me to introduce you guys to my client, Steven, who before working together, he went from this guy who was socially anxious, had a lack of confidence, and was desperate to women, to being that guy who was confident, had an abundance mindset with them, and was able to go out and approach over 30 women, leading to numbers and dates and having that active dating life. I'm going to show you exactly what it is that we implemented for him to get to that point and why in just 60 days he was able to have such a massive transformation. So as we get into this, before Steven even became to me, he came to me and he was like, hey, bro, I have completely taken myself out of dating. Things are extremely inactive right now. And he had that self-doubt and he didn't have that confidence, right? He felt like he wasn't that type of guy to go out and approach women and talk to them because he had this label of being an introvert that was haunting him his whole life, right? He was masking his social and approach anxiety for years, buying into the negative self-talk, taking little action in dating, and he was struggling with his confidence that he had with sports and trying to relate that over to women. And as a result of all of this, he felt like less of a man. And so that's where he was before. And then after, he was able to basically destroy all of his social and approach anxiety that prevented him from actually taking action with women. He lost all of that fear and he felt so good about himself that he approached over 30 women, leading to numbers and dates using our frameworks. Okay. And as a result of all this, not only was he getting the dates and the numbers and he reactivated his dating life, but there was no longer any friction of going up and talking to a woman because he knew exactly how to go about it, exactly what to say, when to say it, and why he needed to say it, okay? Using female psychology, which we'll get into later on. And also, all of these fears were removed. He was able to take the risks that he told me once before that he wasn't the type of guy to take a lot of risks. And even today, he's able to start his own online coaching business, which I still help him with as a coach. Okay. So I want you guys to pause this for a second, kind of go into a little bit of Steven's success story here. Pause, look at a lot of these screenshots. I want to highlight to you guys something on the bottom here. Okay. So this was the first DM conversation that me and Steven had. And he had told me, I don't take many risks, so I avoid situations that could result in failure. So he went from being that guy who just took a backseat to taking risks to being a guy that was going out and doing risky things like approaching women, getting dates, getting numbers, yada, yada, yada. Let's move on. Okay. In order for any of this to happen, Steven had to make a powerful decision. Okay. As any guy would have to do. Most guys will try to figure everything out for themselves, which throws them into an insanity loop of never addressing their core issues. Think of it as a doctor prescribing the wrong medicine to someone who has the disease that doesn't treat that medicine, right? Steven felt everything. He felt the sense of missing out, feeling like he wasn't capable, feeling like less of a man, feeling pain and confusion with women. But he dropped his ego and he took that pain and he redirected it to guidance and transformation. He wanted to start doing things the right way, and he knew support was what was going to get him to that other side, and it did, okay? His short-term investment was not only a transformation for himself, but it taught him the mindset, skills, and knowledge that he's going to have for the rest of his life. And he even told me here through this screenshot, I feel like the person I used to imagine I could be like 2 months ago. I felt like I would never be this fearless until I just invested in myself. And I'm very happy that I did. And for all of these things to happen for Steven, he had to make that decision that this is what he wanted. He knew he had to change, and he knew how he had to go about changing was with that guidance so that he could properly transform himself like so many guys have done before him. So how did we even start to begin? Okay, step one, the very first thing that we had to do was we got crystal clear on his vision of the man that Steven wanted to be, okay? He came to me and he told me, hey, bro, I want to be the guy who could go out there, who could talk to women, approach women with my mouthpiece. I want to be the guy that no longer is held back by fear in his mind and is able to attract the women that he wants to attract wherever he is in the world. So with that vision and his purpose as the main driver, we aligned him immediately with who he wanted to be based on the logical levels framework, okay? Because If you don't establish where it is that the guy that you want to be, how are you supposed to get there? There's certain things that need to be in place for you to directly align yourself to him. And that's something we did immediately, as I do with all of my clients. Because if you don't know where you want to be, we can't help you get there. We need to come together and figure that out ourselves, right? So that's the first thing that we did, which is very, very tough. And so the next thing that we did with Steven was we rewired his beliefs and provided his knowledge. Now, this is the grand scheme. This is what really brings everything together, coming from the mindset point of view, right? All of these guys, even you watching this, you have things that you've done in the past. You have bad habits. You have bad mindsets that are directly dealing and giving you these results that you've gotten for all of these years. So what do you think is going to happen once you start to kind of take all of those bad habits and beliefs and start implementing the correct ones, right? So we got this down to a science together. Me and Steven, we worked really, really hard together to figure out the exact weak points and things he was doing wrong in the past, mindsets, habits that were leading to his current results. Okay. For him specifically, he was coming from extremely low value. He was coming from those places of scarcity. So because he wasn't super confident about going out and getting women, he felt like women were limited. Like every single time he went out, he didn't believe in his own abilities. And so that scarcity mindset puts you at a disadvantage because it makes you come across very needy and very desperate. And women associate that with being low value. And that's exactly what Steven was dealing with, right? What did we do about it? We went in with our inner and outer game training, our big framework to become high value for maximum attraction. We figured out the exact weak points. We started taking that scarcity mindset and building a plan towards having an abundance mindset, right? As we started filling out that pyramid, we started building the confidence with women, which is something you need to improve on, having that attractive communication, showing intent, having high value positioning, and having that abundance mindset. We came up with that game plan to make it happen. And that's where our program continued to actually put things in place, right? Now, again, like I said, this is what separates everything, because without mindset and good habits in the beginning, the inner part of your game, the outer game, like talking, texting, coaching, all of that shit's going to fall apart if you don't look at it at this particular manner. Okay. So that's exactly what we did with Steven. And as we were building off of these, here's what we did as well. Okay. So Steven, as we were establishing and putting in place our game plan for Steven to be the most high value man that he could be, we had a huge obstacle. It was approach anxiety. Okay. So what we did specifically with Steven, we put him through the DESL blueprint, which is specifically targeted using scientifically proven exposure therapy methods to chip away at his approach anxiety. So whenever he went out to talk to women, it was in a way at the beginning where there was no pressure involved. And then once he started getting comfortable in those spaces, we equipped him with exactly what he needed to say, the exact conversation frameworks that he should be using. We also told him exactly, or taught him exactly how he should go about flirting, exactly when he should go about escalating. And once he gets those numbers, how exactly he's supposed to communicate so that he gets these women on a date. But it all started with the DESL framework, or blueprint, I should say, because that's what actually made him start taking action. Remember, in the beginning, when he wasn't working with me yet, he wasn't taking action. And it's because of these anxieties. So if the anxiety is still there, we cannot take action. We need to remove the anxiety so that action becomes fun, right? So as he took these small steps over time, that fight or flight response that went on in his head, it turned into this is fun. Because everything, all of those fears started to chip away and eliminate themselves, okay? As I said before, we equipped him with the framework so he knew what to say, how to say it, and when to escalate, all while staying authentic and not pretending to be someone that he's not, using his own personality, his own humor, his own charisma that he newly found through these frameworks, okay? As a result of all of this, every conversation, he felt ready. He was free of anxiety. He was present. And what came out of that? He would see women, eyes light up, ready to put their number in his phone. Okay. So after this, and as you can see here on the left side, right, you could literally, this is a screenshot from his very first time going out there. Okay. He got his first combo out the way. Wasn't bad at all. Now I'm heading to practice. I'll tell you some more later. His confidence rose after day one of our plan. Okay. And what happens is, as he gains something like coaching with our frameworks and our specific game plan to desensitize himself to anxiety and approaching, as he takes that action and he gets these positive results of good conversation at the beginning, all the way up to leading, getting these numbers, getting these dates. Every time he gets a positive result, his confidence increases. So our program is designed to put you into a momentum state, which we did with Steven, so that as you see on the left side here, more present every day and approaching new people is getting a little bit easier. I'm being much more observant of tone. Since we use this method, things become gradual. Things become less and less difficult, as opposed to maybe what you've tried in the past. Things seem like the world is ending. We make it very, very simple and very small steps. And look at the bottom there. I felt more excitement approaching women now. I just accepted that the nervousness that I got before approaching just means that my body realized I'm about to go talk to someone new. So I just embrace that nervous feeling. I don't take approaching too seriously anymore. And let me just say this, that nervous feeling he's talking about, that's a nervous feeling towards excitement now instead of towards fear. And so that feeling is something that you embrace and you love it and you use it to your advantage to go out there and take that necessary action. Right. Since stepping out of his comfort zone, he said he felt way more happy because he finally is not afraid of anything. I just feel more complete as a man, really, in his own specific words. Okay. So, when Steven's own words here, we did a little testimonial video. He said, you got to ask yourself, do you want to change or not? It's pretty much a yes or no. Like I said in the beginning, Steven had to make a very tough decision, right? But the decision was towards change. He knew he needed the help and he wanted to change his life. He made that powerful decision and he doesn't regret it. You really never will. Okay. These short-term investments go a long way, right? He said, if you don't, you're going to be doing the same things you've always done. But if you try it, you'll give yourself a chance. You have to believe in yourself that you could figure it out with someone helping you. Okay. Now, Steven spends his time actively dating with a new sense of confidence and direction that he could take with him for the rest of his life. Since that area of his life is figured out, right, he can now turn it on and off whenever he wants as he focuses on building his online business in 2025. What more could you ask for him specifically? That's exactly what he wanted to achieve. He didn't want anything serious at the moment, so he wanted to put himself to be that 2.0 version of himself so that he could turn it on and off in his dating life with the skills, with the mindset, with the taking action, so he could go out and get what it is he wanted whenever he wanted for the rest of his life. Okay. So if this sounds like you in any way, and maybe your story is very similar to Steven's story, or maybe you deal with a lot of the same things that he deals with specifically, come together with me. Let's book a free discovery call, 15-minute call to talk about your specific problems that you have going on and where it is exactly that you want to go as a result of everything, right? And let's bridge that gap, make a game plan for you so that you could actually see what that looks like for you and your situation, tailored entirely to you. And so if that sounds like you want to hop on a call with me to discover this side of yourself, and you feel like a guy who's ready to change, right? You're tired of the old self. You want to step into alignment with the new man that you want to be. If that sounds like you, go click the link in the description of this video to book a one-on-one 15-minute call with me, which is going to be extremely insightful for you. And so we could possibly start changing that man that you want to be for the rest of your life. Cheers.